2010, 15-year-old Joshua Davies lured his girlfriend Rebecca Aylward to a Welsh forest, ending her life over a cruel bet for a breakfast he would never eat, leaving a community forever shattered. Through the dusty lens of 1939, a sick migrant child rests in a makeshift camp, personifying the quiet, agonizing struggle for survival that defined the Great Depression's impact on America's most vulnerable families. During the 1840s, Anarcha Westcott endured 30 surgeries without anesthesia as an enslaved experimental subject, ultimately paving the way for modern gynecology through a sacrifice she never chose but is now honored for. Feeding hungry children in 1969, the Black Panthers breakfast program became a target of federal fear as police destroyed food supplies to dismantle, until community service that the FBI viewed as a threat. When 17-year-old Alyssa Turney vanished from her Phoenix home in 2001, she left behind a lifetime of unanswered questions and a complex legal mystery that remains a haunting void for those seeking justice. Captured in 1979, a young Ben Stiller shares a quiet moment of fatherly guidance with his legendary dad Jerry, showcasing the tender roots of a comedic dynasty before they both became household names. Long before his fall from grace, Jeffrey Epstein stood before a chalkboard at the Dalton School in 1974, teaching physics and math while moving through the elite circles that would define his life. In a stunning 1981 courtroom act of vengeance, Marianne Bachmeier opened fire on her daughter's killer, and delivering a mother's final lethal judgment that sparked a global debate on the boundaries of grief and justice. Under the harsh lights of 1954, South Africa, a radiologist scans a miner's stomach for stolen diamonds, revealing the extreme and invasive measures taken by the Kimberley industry to protect its precious carbon gems. Amidst the frozen tensions of 1982, a solitary penguin stands in a peculiar rigid formation beside a British soldier, offering a moment of surreal companionship during the desolate conflict of the Falklands War. Emerging from the dense Vietnamese jungle in 1966, pilot Victor Vizcarra displays the hollow gaze of a man who watched his own burning aircraft plummet beneath his parachute into the unforgiving mountain terrain below. From Ayashai's Champodium of absolute power, in 1941, Adolf Hitler declared war on the United States, a pivotal moment of hubris that shifted the global conflict and sealed the eventual fate of his empire. In 1993, the opening of a Manhattan cafe brought together the worlds of real estate and dark influence as Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein stood together during an era of high society, networking, and excess. Standing in silent majesty before the tragedies of 1992, the Buddhas of Bamiyan watch over Afghanistan, representing a cultural heritage of immense beauty that would soon be lost to the forces of intolerance. In the early 1930s, the Empire State Building stands as a lone Art Deco giant over a low-slung New York skyline, a soaring testament to ambition before the city grew into a steel canyon. As the Florida sun shone on January 28, 1986, the faces of onlookers shifted from awe to absolute horror as they witnessed the Challenger shuttle break apart against the blue sky of morning. In a gritty 1950s, classroom Japanese high school students engage in a dark subculture of mahjong and methamphetamine injections, illustrating the hidden social scars and desperation of a nation rebuilding after the war. The 1925 banquet of the mutilated faces in Paris serves as a haunting reminder of the Great War, where veterans with shattered features gathered to find dignity in a world they saved but lost. With a weapon of ancient design in the jungles of 1967, a U.S. Army lieutenant fires a flaming arrow toward a bamboo hut, illustrating the primitive and brutal tactics used during the Vietnam War. Returning to the ruins of Vienna in 1946, a weary soldier stands amidst the rubble of his homeland, his expression a mixture of relief and the heavy burden of starting over from nothing. Walking along Heiligendamm Beach in 1935, Adolf Hitler smiles beside young Helga Goebbels, a chilling image of domestic normalcy captured just a decade before the girl's tragic murder at the hands of her parents. Captured in the soft light of 1971, a North Vietnamese couple holds hands during the height of the war, proving that even amidst relentless conflict, the human heart still seeks connection and quiet tenderness. In 1917, two soldiers stand by. He wooden stocks in Cincinnati's Fountain Square, using public humiliation to warn against perceived treachery as the United States entered the feverish patriotism of the First World War. Walking through the rain of London in 1965, the Supremes carry their umbrellas with effortless grace, bringing the polished sound and style of Motown to the damp historic streets of the British capital. The Clash of Generations is perfectly framed in 1982 as a group of spiked-haired London punks share a sidewalk with a surprised grandmother, capturing a vibrant moment of cultural evolution and social friction. In 1979, a simple fisherman displays his catch for the evening meal, representing a timeless way of life, where the rhythm of the tides dictates the sustenance of the family around the table. Horse-drawn wagons navigate a thick blanket of snow on a New York street in 1910, showing a city in transition where the muscle of animals still powered the commerce of a freezing metropolis. These 1972 mugshots capture John Wojtowicz, the man who famously robbed a Brooklyn bank to fund his partner's surgery, a desperate act of love that would later inspire a classic of American cinema. In 1945, a homeless woman sits among the skeletal remains of Cologne, her entire world reduced to the few possessions she could carry through the smoking ruins of a defeated and broken Germany. Leaning against a brick wall in 1955, James Dean embodies the cool, restless spirit of a generation, captured by Phil Stern just before the young actor's life was cut short by his legend. The Savage Skulls gang stands defiantly in the 1972 Bronx, their leather vests and hardened stares telling the story of a neighborhood where survival meant finding family in the shadows of urban decay. Walking toward their final mission in 1986, the crew of the Challenger orbiter shares a moment of professional pride, unaware that 73 seconds would soon transform their journey into a national tragedy. In the early 1900s, Katie Sanwina, the Lady Hercules, effortlessly hoists 3 men aloft, proving her incredible strength after famously outlifting the world's most renowned strongman on a stage in New York City. Surrounded by his siblings in 1974, Michael Jackson celebrates his 16th birthday in Las Vegas, a fleeting moment of childhood joy, and for a young star already navigating the pressures of global musical fame. In 1984, 3 children were found abandoned at a Barcelona station, a heartbreaking mystery that began when their parents vanished a year earlier and disappeared into the shadows of history, never to return. After 60 years of hidden suffering, Rosemary Kennedy passed away in 2005, having lived a life defined by the lobotomy her father forced upon her to protect the prestigious family's public political image. In 1949, a group of California students enjoys a sunny field trip, capturing the optimism of the post-war era, when the world seemed wide open and full of educational promise for the youth. Peering from the shadows of the 1990 film set, Tim Curry's Pennywise the Clown prepares to haunt a new generation, creating an iconic image of horror that would linger in the collective nightmares. In the freezing air of 1940s, Helsinki, a Finnish anti-aircraft crew, remains vigilant at their post, defending their snowy skies against the encroaching threat of invasion during the dark days of winter. Captured at the Memphis Zoo in 1956, Johnny Cash shares a gentle moment with his young daughter Roseanne, showing the tender private side of the Man in Black before his legendary musical career. In 1974, German zoologist Bernhard Grzimek continues his lifelong mission of conservation, a man whose passion for the natural world helped awaken a global conscience toward the protection of endangered African wildlife. A lone janitor sweeps the floor of the New York Stock Exchange in 1929, clearing away the physical debris of a financial collapse that would plunge the entire world into a decade of darkness. Amidst the humid shadows of the 1960s, a U.S. Marine in Vietnam pauses for a moment of reflection, his weary eyes reflecting the heavy psychological toll of a war fought in the jungle. With a tray balanced and wheels spinning, a 1950s car hop glides across the pavement, personifying the neon-lit, fast-paced optimism of an American culture newly obsessed with the convenience of the drive-in lifestyle. In 1910, University of Illinois, students relax in a dorm room filled with pennants and pipes, offering a nostalgic glimpse into the academic life and social customs of a far more formal era. Against a backdrop of high fashion in 1970, models pose with striking elegance, capturing the bold colors and revolutionary silhouettes that defined a decade of creative upheaval and changing social norms for women. Traveling. To Japan in 1980, Andre the Giant occupies a cabin seat that seems far too small for his legendary frame, illustrating the unique challenges of life as a true world-renowned marvel. On the morning of June 6, 1944, Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, beginning a monumental military operation that would eventually turn the tide of history and liberate a continent from tyranny. Celebrating New Year's Day in mid-century New York, these revelers toast to the future, marking the passage of time in a city that never stops moving through the decades of the 20th century. Times Square glows with the electric energy of New Year's Eve as thousands gather in the heart of New York City to count down the final moments of a year and embrace tomorrow. In 1931, Washington, D.C. inspectors test a dubious height-increasing device showcasing the strange and often scientific-looking quackery that promised to transform the human body during a time of unregulated medical innovation. A young boy gazes out from a tenement window in 1940s New York, a quiet observation of urban life captured by Helen Levitt during an era of profound social change and neighborhood resilience. Deep in the forests of 1910s, Oregon loggers work among the towering timber of Corvallis, using raw physical labor to harvest the massive trees that would build the foundations of a growing nation. On a historic morning in 1911, the RMS Titanic slides into the waters of Belfast, for the first time a marvel of Edwardian engineering that carried the hopes of an age before. Tragedy. In 1943, model airplanes hang from the ceiling of Chicago's Union Station, inspiring travelers with the wonder of flight as they moved through the busy concourses of a nation mobilized for global war. A 1920s mugshot from the Sydney Police Museum reveals the face of a forgotten criminal, offering a raw and intimate look at the underworld characters who once inhabited the shadows of Australian history. High above the streets of London in 1930, intrepid workers balance on the iron ribs of the Crystal Palace, meticulously cleaning the glass roof to maintain its shimmering Victorian-era architectural majesty. Tucked away in a linen cupboard during a 1943 air raid, these London nursery children wait in silence, finding a makeshift sanctuary amidst the terrifying sounds of war echoing through the city. In a whimsical 1953 exhibition, former King Peter of Yugoslavia and his young son, Alexander, don bulky, futuristic spacesuits, capturing a father-son moment inspired by the dawn of the atomic age. Glistening under the winter drizzle of 1962, the iconic Christmas lights of Oxford Street transform London into a glowing wonderland, offering a festive escape for shoppers during the peak of the holidays. A solitary soldier trudges through the mud of 1915, carrying a small Christmas tree toward the front lines to bring a fleeting sense of home and peace to his weary brothers in arms. Revving through a 1932 winter, a spirited Santa Claus swaps his traditional reindeer for a sleek motorcycle, delivering holiday cheer with a modern mechanical twist that delighted the crowds of the era. In 1935, Margaret Travis tests the inventive Shapson aquaplane at Santa Monica Beach, demonstrating a hand-cranked propeller device designed to revolutionize ocean rescues and high-speed swimming for lifeguards across Southern California. The 1953 Manta Ray concept car glides through the mid-century imagination, its radical fiberglass curves and jet-inspired nose representing the pinnacle of American automotive optimism and the futuristic dreams of Detroit. With focused precision in 1944, sculptor Selma Burke shapes a clay bas relief of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, creating the historic likeness that would eventually grace the American dime and honor his leadership. In a rugged 1936 training exercise at Aldershot, British soldiers practiced swimming in full military gear, preparing their bodies for the physical demands of aquatic combat as tensions began rising across Europe. Soaring above the 1940s, Brooklyn's skyline, the Coney Island parachute jump, offered thrill-seekers a taste of simulated flight, becoming a towering landmark of steel and silk in New York's legendary playground. Hidden beneath the rubber and sweat of 1954, a dedicated performer prepares to bring Godzilla to life on a miniature Tokyo set, unknowingly launching a cinematic legacy that would define the monster genre. High above Manhattan in 1932, fearless construction workers snatch a precarious nap on a steel girder, defying the dizzying heights of the RCA building to find rest amidst the city's rising skyline. In a spirited display of rural competition during the 1920s, participants lean into a frantic barrel race, showcasing the simple, dusty joys of outdoor sport and the timeless bond between horse and rider. Exhibited in 1969, Hanover, this futuristic office concept, integrated video recorders and photocopiers into a single workspace, predicting the high-tech digital environments that would eventually redefine the global professional world forever. At the turn of the century in 1900, a determined cyclist embarks on a century run, pushing human endurance to the limit in a grueling 100-mile journey through the unpaved Day-American countryside. Navigated through the streets of 1930s, London, a wax figure of Adolf Hitler, is delivered to Madame Tussauds, serving as a chillingly lifelike precursor to the global conflict that would soon follow. In a rare glimpse of his pre-fame youth around 1960, a young Robert Plant smiles beside his baby sister Allison long before his powerful voice would define the sound of rock and roll. Captured by the lens of Henri Cartier-Bresson in 1954, a Moscow car factory worker and his supervisor share a moment of industrial cooperation, illustrating the human face of the Soviet labor force. Snowdon Slights, the legendary last wildfowler of Yorkshire, sits proudly in the 1870s with his massive collection of fowling pieces representing the end of an ancient and rugged way of English life. Perched on the sun-drenched stone stairs of the Southern Alps in 1928, a young Italian girl looks out at her mountain home, framed by the timeless beauty of the rugged European highlands. In 1938, a daring athlete demonstrates the new sport of ski sailing in St. A Moritz using the wind to glide across the Swiss snow in a thrilling marriage of mountain and maritime mechanics. Photographed by a young Stanley Kubrick in 1947, boxer Rocky Graziano stares intensely into the camera, his bruised and determined face telling the story of the brutal struggle inside the professional ring. High above the Old Bailey in 1933, workers scale the Statue of Justice to scrub away the soot of London, ensuring the iconic golden figure continues to watch over the city's legal heart. Ailing but resilient in 1902, Crimea, the great author Leo Tolstoy rests beside his devoted daughter, Tatiana, finding a moment of familial peace during his final years of philosophical and physical struggle. Glowing with youthful elegance in 1953, John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Bouvier celebrate their wedding in Newport, marking the beginning of an American political dynasty that would soon captivate the entire world. A festive crowd gathers in 1909 Michigan to celebrate the launch of the SS Benjamin Noble, a lake freighter destined for the Great Lakes before disappearing into a legendary and tragic storm. In a poignant moment of freedom before the tanks arrived in 1989, a couple dances in Tiananmen Square, their movement a defiant and beautiful expression of the hope that once filled Beijing. A determined student marches in 1930 to demand higher pay for her teachers, proving that the fight for educational dignity and fair wages has long been a cornerstone of passionate social activism. Leaning against her iconic Mini, in 1972, London model Jenny Clare personifies the chic, vibrant energy of the decade where fashion and automotive design merged to create a lasting cultural aesthetic. Divine beams of 1954, sunlight pierced the vast windows of Grand Central Terminal, illuminating the hurried commuters of New York City in a cathedral-like glow that celebrates the grandeur of rail travel. Dressed in traditional wooden clogs and lace, these Dutch children of the early 1900s offer a charming glimpse into a rural European heritage that remained unchanged for many generations of family life. In 1866, North Dakota Chief Iron Bear gazes toward the horizon with a profound and steady dignity, representing the resilience of indigenous leaders during a period of massive transition in the West. Captured in the soft hues of an early 1910s autochrome, the streets of Paris glow with a timeless romanticism, preserving the elegant atmosphere of the Belle Epoque just before the Great War. In 1950s, Tokyo, a skilled deliveryman balances a towering stack of soba noodle trays on his bicycle, showcasing the incredible physical dexterity and traditional service culture found in Japan's bustling urban centers. With playful energy in 1949, a woman and her talented dog jump rope together, capturing a light-hearted moment of suburban joy and the enduring clever friendship between humans and their loyal pets. Exuding high-altitude glamour in 1960, a model poses within the sleek cabin of a modern airplane, illustrating the era when air travel was a luxurious, sophisticated, an event reserved for the elite. In a 1959 feat of collegiate absurdity, 22 students crammed themselves into a single phone booth at Street, a Mary's College, creating a humorous and iconic image of mid-century American campus life. Peering into a mirror in 1953, Disney animators contort their own faces to master the perfect expressions, bridging the gap between human emotion and the hand-drawn magic of classic cinematic animation. Arrested outside Buckingham Palace in 1914, Emmeline Pankhurst fights against the police to deliver a petition to the king, personifying the fierce, unyielding spirit of the British suffragette movement's long struggle. Balanced precariously in 1952, a rider refuels his bizarre monowheel vehicle, showcasing the experimental and often eccentric side of mid-century transportation design that briefly dared to reinvent the traditional bicycle. In a charming 1955 scene titled "Trunk Call," a small child interacts with an elephant, illustrating the gentle, surreal curiosity that arises when the world of nature meets the innocence of youth. Sitting amidst the smoldering ruins of the Reichstag in May 1945, a German soldier contemplates the total collapse of his nation, marking the somber end of a dark era in European history. In 1920s, London, a traditional knife grinder peddles his mobile workshop through the streets, providing an essential sharpening service to the city's households while maintaining an ancient and vanishing urban trade. From the giant balloons of the 1920s to the televised spectacles of the 1990s, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade has evolved into a beloved American tradition that unites generations in holiday wonder. Linus, a magnificent Oregon Wonder Horse from the 1890s, displays his legendary 14-foot mane, representing a rare and extinct breed celebrated for its extraordinary beauty and the fascination of the era. A resourceful photographer holds up a scenic backdrop in post-war Poland, masking the skeletal ruins of World War II to provide his subjects with a fleeting artificial moment of beauty and normalcy. In 1966, a Soviet veteran stands in silent vigil near the eternal flame, his medals and weary posture honoring the millions of lives lost during the brutal struggle for victory decades earlier. Passengers on a 1946 flight from Puerto Rico to New York relax in the spacious, wicker-seated cabin, experiencing the early adventurous days of commercial aviation as the world began to connect again. Once a rugged peak of granite in the 1920s, the face of Mount Rushmore was forever transformed into a colossal monument of 4 presidents standing today as a towering symbol of American history. Returning to the skeletal ruins of Frankfurt in 1947, a defeated soldier finds his home reduced to rubble, and his family vanished a hollow survivor of a war that stripped away everything he loved. In 1911, Lewis Hine captured children as young as 8 shucking oysters for hours before and after school, revealing the grueling reality of child labor that once stole the innocence of America's youth. Magnates Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Harvey Firestone joined President Harding for a 1921 camping trip in Pennsylvania, showcasing an unlikely alliance of power and innovation amidst the quiet beauty of Licking Creek. Clutching their simple poles on a dusty Texas road in 1925, 2 young boys head toward the water, personifying the timeless and carefree spirit of a rural childhood spent in the great outdoors. Seated beside his loyal horse on a lonely Texas hill in 1910, a quiet cowboy surveys the vast horizon of Bonham, capturing the fading essence of the Old West before the modern world arrived. In the 1880s, the stunned and weary faces of new parents reflect the overwhelming reality of welcoming quadruplets into a world where such a rare occurrence was considered nothing short of a miracle. Dressed in their finest traveling clothes, a family poses beside their carriage in the early 1900s, embarking on a journey through a changing landscape where the pace of life was measured by hoofbeats. A somber portrait reveals an American soldier who lost his legs during the Great War, standing as a silent, resilient testament to the immense physical and personal sacrifice demanded by the global conflict. In a charming 1950 scene at the London Zoo, a father gently lifts his son to offer a snack to a towering giraffe, capturing a moment of pure wonder and quiet parental guidance. Dressed in protective leather and heavy goggles, a French woman stands defiantly beside her machine in 1905, is breaking social conventions to embrace the speed and independence of the early motoring era with style. A mother and daughter navigate the dusty roads of the 1910s in a motorcycle sidecar, showcasing a bold and adventurous spirit during a time when motorized travel was still a thrilling, unpredictable novelty. Moving with focused grace on the courts of Hampton University in 1907, 3 students engage in a game of netball, highlighting the growing importance of physical education and athletics for young black women. A New York filling station from the 1920s stands as a beacon of the burgeoning automotive age, where the smell of gasoline and the hum of engines signaled the city's rapid, restless transformation. On a Tuesday morning in 2001, Andy Card whispers our chilling reality to President Bush at a Florida school, a pivotal moment that would change the course of history and the world forever. In 1989, Ronald Reagan tips his cap to reveal a surgical scar, greeting well-wishers with his trademark optimism after undergoing a procedure to relieve fluid buildup just months after leaving the Oval Office. With burgers priced at just a few cents, this 1973 McDonald's menu offers a nostalgic look at a simpler era of fast food before the Golden Arches became a global symbol of convenience. A supersonic Concorde roars into the sky while a space shuttle rides atop a modified 747 in the foreground, creating a rare and spectacular 1990s image of humanity's greatest achievements in flight. Weighing 10 pounds and requiring a bulky carrying case, this 1880 mobile telephone prototype was a cumbersome yet visionary first step toward the pocket-sized technology that would eventually connect the entire modern world. In 1967, former Luftwaffe ace Adolf Galland takes the controls of a modern Lufthansa jet over Sydney, bridging the gap between his legendary combat career and the sophisticated era of global commercial aviation. These 2 photographs, separated by 66 years of rapid progress, illustrate the incredible journey of a single lifetime and the profound social and technological shifts that have reshaped our collective human experience. The charred remains of Dresden in March 1945 stand as a haunting monument to the devastating power of total war, where a once beautiful city was transformed into a landscape of ash and sorrow. A gigantic wastebasket stands as a towering reminder in the center of 1955 Times Square, part of a bold New York City anti-litter campaign designed to encourage citizens to keep their streets clean. Dangling from a massive crane hook high above the earth in 1910, a daring photographer risks his life to capture a bird's-eye view, proving the length some will go to for the perfect shot. Clad in a heavy canvas suit and a brass helmet, a deep-sea diver slowly descends into the murky depths in 1915, embarking on a silent and dangerous journey into the unknown underwater world. The mysterious 2011 disappearance of Lauren Spearer remains a haunting shadow over Bloomington, as her family continues a desperate search for answers after she vanished without a trace into the early morning darkness. Long before his rise to heavy metal fame, a young Rob Zombie poses for a photograph in 1986, his dark aesthetic already hinting at the creative and macabre world he would eventually build for millions. In a rare moment of unity in 1973, President Richard Nixon welcomes John McCain back to Washington, honoring the incredible resilience and sacrifice of a former prisoner of war who survived years of brutal captivity. Sprawled across the ancient stones of Giza in 1915, the soldiers of the Australian 11th Battalion pose for a historic portrait, finding a moment of wonder amidst the global chaos of the Great War. Standing as a jagged and unfinished stump in 1860, the Washington Monument was photographed by Matthew Brady, a stark visual reminder of a nation paused on the very brink of a devastating civil war. Best known for his soulful guitar work with Lynyrd Skynyrd King, left an indelible mark on Southern rock, crafting the iconic riffs that would eventually become the soundtrack for a restless American generation. Peering through the eyes of a whimsical giraffe-head toy in 1951, a young girl explores the imaginative world created by Charles Eames, reflecting the designer's unique belief that play is the highest form. Caught in a clever act of defiance. In 1922, a woman hides a prohibited flask within her fashionable Russian boots, showcasing the creative ways Americans bypassed the strict laws of the Prohibition era. Clad in skins and seated on a chair made of elk antlers, mountain man Seth Kinman poses for Matthew Brady in 1864, embodying the wild and untamed spirit of the American Western frontier. Years before becoming the face of the punk movement, a young Sid Vicious stares into the camera. In 1968, his innocent appearance betraying no hint of the chaotic and rebellious future awaiting him. In a surprising display of community support, Al Capone's Free Soup Kitchen feeds thousands of hungry Americans in 1931, offering a brief moment of relief during the darkest years of the Great Depression. Children play fearlessly among massive reptiles at a California alligator farm in the 1920s, a time when public safety standards were remarkably different, and the thrill of the wild was just a ride away. Under the watchful eye of the 1928 Huntington Beach crowd, beachgoers enjoy a perfectly normal day by the sea, though their elaborate costumes and vintage umbrellas feel like a dream from another world. Dressed in vibrant orange hot pants, the original flight attendants of Southwest Airlines in 1972 brought a unique sense of style and personality to the skies, defining the energetic brand of a new era. The haunting echoes of history collide in this poignant comparison between London in the 1940s and Ukraine in 2022, reminding us that the resilience of the human spirit remains unchanged by the passing decades. Bound by the primitive medical practices of the 1890s, a patient in a German mental asylum undergoes treatment reflecting a dark and difficult period in history before the arrival of modern psychiatric understanding. This rare glimpse of a 1970s remote control reveals a chunky wired device that was once the height of luxury, forever changing the way we interacted with the world from our own living rooms. Spotted on a busy street in 1982, the legendary Jim Henson takes a moment to help an elderly lady cross the road, a quiet act of kindness from the man who gave us Muppets. A Frenchman's expressive face tells 1,000 stories as he tastes Coca-Cola for the very first time in the 1950s, capturing the moment an American. a cultural icon began its conquest of the globe. Sniffing out trouble in 1926 Los Angeles, a federal agent inspects a suspicious lumber truck, discovering that its hollowed-out cargo was actually hiding a fortune in illegal alcohol during the height of Prohibition. After losing her home and family during the Second World War, 86-year-old Alexandra faces the same terror again. In 2022, Ukraine, her enduring resilience, a tragic testament to the recurring cycles of history. Clad in oversized sweaters and surrounded by the hum of early processors, the System Violators High School Computer Club poses in the mid-'80s, embodying the dawn of our modern digital revolution. Radiating charm on the iconic beige sofa, a young Courtney Cox prepares for a scene on the set of Friends in 1994, unaware she is creating a cultural phenomenon that will endure. Enjoying a peaceful afternoon in 1980, diverse crowds gather across the lush green lawns of London's Hyde Park, capturing a fleeting moment of urban tranquility during a decade of vibrant social change. Walking through the sun-drenched streets of Harlem in 1943, a fashionable woman and her loyal dog offer a glimpse of daily life and resilient community spirit during the height of the war. Bandaged and brave within the cramped confines of a specialized animal, ambulance, an injured dog receives vital medical care during World War II, highlighting the often overlooked sacrifices of our loyal four-legged companions. Suspended high above the lush Tennessee canopy in 1958, a young boy rides the Smoky Mountain Sky Lift solo, embodying the adventurous and perhaps less regulated spirit of mid-century American family vacations. Dressed in matching sailor suits with mischievous glints in their eyes, Max and Moritz pose for a formal portrait in 1920, looking every bit like the famous storybook rascals they were named after. Ornate street lamps and bustling streetcars line the wide expanse of Canal Street in 1910, New Orleans, as the vibrant city pulses with the energy of a new century and Southern charm. Taking a playful break from the epic filming of Ben-Hur in 1958, stars Charlton Heston and Stephen Boyd zip around the set on a Vespa, contrasting ancient Rome with modern Italian style. Pausing mid-match at Boleyn Ground in 1936, thousands of spectators turn their gaze toward the sky to witness a rare solar eclipse, a celestial spectacle that briefly overshadowed the game of football. From a quiet coastal trading port in the 1950s to a glittering metropolis of glass and steel, today the dramatic evolution of Dubai stands as a staggering testament to rapid global transformation. Standing amidst the icy desolation of Antarctica in 1903, explorer Gilbert Kerr plays his bagpipes for a profoundly indifferent penguin, creating one of the most surreal and humorous images of early polar exploration. A blizzard of ticker tape rains down on Wall Street in 1918 as thousands gather to celebrate the German surrender, marking a jubilant and emotional end to the horrors of the Great War. Crossing the vast American heartland on Highway 30 in 1948, a determined family travels by motorcycle and sidecar from Omaha to Salt Lake City, embodying the restless spirit of the open road. Gently coaxing a massive tortoise with a small snack in 1945, a young boy experiences a moment of wonder and slow-motion connection with one of the planet's oldest and most patient living creatures. Measuring over 20 feet long with an unconventional 8-wheel design, the 1911 Reeves Octo Auto promised a smoother ride for 4 passengers, standing today as a bizarre milestone in early automotive experimental history. With a voice that commanded the world's respect, Aretha Franklin redefined the power of soul and gospel, leaving behind a legendary musical legacy that continues to inspire generations long. After her passing. In a rare moment of domestic joy in 1953, Pablo Picasso and his children celebrate the completion of a collaborative drawing, proving that even the world's greatest artists find inspiration in family. Defying physical limitations with grace, sideshow performers Charles Tripp and Eli Bowen ride a tandem bicycle in the 1890s, showcasing the incredible resilience and showmanship of P.T., Barnum's world-famous traveling circus troupe. Navigating the treacherous, slippery ice of northern Lapland in 1941, a Finnish soldier leads a pack reindeer through the freezing wilderness, relying on ancient Arctic traditions to survive the brutal winter war. Beneath the studio lights of the 1980s, the cast and crew of Sesame Street rehearsed the colorful magic that would educate and entertain millions of children, shaping the future of educational television. Decades before, he would become the legendary Freddie Mercury. Young Farrokh Bulsara sits quietly with his nanny in 1947, Zanzibar, the first chapter of a life that would eventually rock the world. Surrounded by cardboard boxes and new beginnings. In 1953, a family begins move-in day in Lakewood, California, witnessing the birth of the suburban American dream in the post-war housing boom. Gathered around their famous companion, Petey the Pit Bull, the iconic Little Rascals smile for a 1935 portrait capturing the innocent and timeless charm of childhood friends who became Hollywood legends. Laden with an impossible number of colorful baskets and flowers, this whimsical French holiday postcard from 1910 sends a charming message of abundance and joy from the dawn of the 20th century. Perched atop a massive mountain of paper in 1994, Bill Gates demonstrates that a single CD-ROM can hold more data than the physical forest below, signaling a definitive shift in human history. Moving with rhythmic grace in a darkened 1952 studio, Jascha Heifetz uses a light-tipped bow to trace the intricate paths of his music, turning a brilliant violin performance into a stunning work of visual art. Adorned in a magnificently beaded atiji at Fullerton Harbor in 1905, Kutuktuk gazes into the camera, her striking portrait preserving the rich cultural heritage and the resilient beauty of the Inuit people of Canada. Plunging toward the sea in a final fiery descent in 1945, a Japanese dive bomber is struck by the gunners of the USS Hornet, capturing the terrifying and terminal intensity of the Pacific Theater. Posing confidently in their striped wool swimsuits, two men enjoy a sunny day at the shore around 1910, reflecting the modest and charming fashion trends of an era before the birth of modern swimwear. Resembling a strange piece of industrial machinery, this vintage hairdryer from the 1920s highlights the elaborate and often cumbersome efforts women once underwent to achieve the perfectly coiffed styles of the Jazz Age. During the 1959 World Series, a distracted fan accidentally douses outfielder Al Smith in beer, creating a perfectly timed and hilarious photograph that has since become one of the most famous blunders in baseball history. The cold iron bars of a New Orleans prison frame the faces of women in 1965 as Leonard Freed's powerful photography exposes the stark reality of the justice system during a turbulent decade of change. Looking like strange mechanical flowers, these massive acoustic listening devices were developed for the Dutch Army in the 1930s to detect approaching enemy aircraft, serving as a primitive precursor to modern radar. Defense systems. Clutching their meager belongings, in 1942, these young children wait for a bus in California, victims of an executive order that forced thousands of Japanese Americans into internment camps during the height of war. A streamlined steam locomotive pulls away from the Chicago skyline in 1948, its sleek design cutting through the hazy air as it carries passengers toward the future of high-speed